Hello everybody, it's here, it's Citizen Live. Thank you so much for joining us on what is going to be a fantastic show today. The sun is shining and we are feeling very good today. We're currently live at the Turning Centre of Excellence in Brierley Hill. Now this is just outside of Birmingham. It opened only 2 years ago. In fact, I believe that we were here for part of the opening too. Citizen also have their Bushy facility nearer to London and that's called their Solutions Centre. Now both facilities are carrying out different duties but also acting as showrooms for the machines. So we're going to find out a little bit more about that centre later on. So what can you expect from watching the show today? Well, we all know Citizen supply Syncom sliders and Miyano fixed head lathes. But today is all about the Miyano machines, and these are the larger bar capacity machines. So today, kind of in order-ish, we're going to find out about their latest product release, the ANX-42SYY, the first FANUC fixed head with LFV technology. We're also going to get a kind of insight onto the whole range of the Miyano machines, and we're going to hear from some fantastic client testimonials. Now these are people who have bought the machines and they literally rave about them, and there's a lot. Throughout the show, please feel free to ask any questions in the comments box below, or whichever platform that you're watching the show on. We're here to test the guys. They're going to be answering all of those questions towards the end of the show. Give us a like or a comment or a shout out, because we would love to hear from you. Right, first of all, we're going to have a chat with Edward James, who is the Managing Director of Citizen Machinery UK. I actually caught up with Edward, and I want to go a little bit off script today because Edward, you said to me yesterday, and thank you for having us here at the live event. Edward, you said to me yesterday you're flat out, and I just was like, well, why? Why is this? So take it away.
Okay, thank you, Lindsay. Yeah, I think this year started off really buoyant, even since the third lockdown started in December. We've had a year pandemic lockdown. Yep. There's a backlog in medical, operations, dental, things like that. But also, you know, in the last year, the Bank of England said people have saved £180 billion. That's burning holes in people's pockets.
Yes.
People want to get out, they want to buy things. The government have had long-term plans on infrastructure improvements, so construction's busy, medical, dental, even oil and gas, luxury goods, by far the fastest growing sector, you know, consumer electronics, things like that. And some surprises really, you know, there's some new kids on the block like EV technologies,
right,
and also carbon capture. So there's lots of new opportunities. There's different industries that you're talking about, and I think that it's very relatable when you're talking about these luxury goods, and it's kind of a bit of a juxtaposition of, you know, you think we go into this pandemic and yet these luxury goods and what's happening is increasing. It's really fascinating. And you said something yesterday about the UK being really resilient. Yes, that's right. You know, there's always things that we need. We always need food. We always need somewhere to live. We need energy. But there's focuses on renewable energy. There's focuses on carbon capture. People are thinking a little bit different. I think people's attitude to travel has changed during the pandemic. And from that, there's opportunities.
What's carbon capture, sorry?
Carbon capture is the desire to store carbon, right, to stop it completing the ozone depletion. So this is like a new technology. It's kind of off the back of renewable energy, where we can't save carbon, we store carbon.
Oh, okay. See, the thing is, it's so fascinating because you're at the forefront of that technology and you're working with companies in those industries that are at the forefront too. Now let's go back to what people think of when they think about Citizen. They talk about Swiss type machining and the Syncom side of things. Is that right?
Yeah, I think traditionally people associate Citizen with Swiss technology.
Yeah. And
although Citizen's been going for 100 years, Miyano's been going for 91 years, and actually Miyano made their first cam auto lathe in 1948.
Wow.
And
okay,
in the last 10 years since Citizen and Miyano merged together, the Miyano products have definitely benefited from the Citizen technology. And what we're seeing now is the fastest growth in our business is in that Miyano fixed head technology, both for bar and near net shape machining. And I think the reason for that is that the Miyano has such a reputation for quality and reliability,
yes,
you know, and performance.
And the Miyano now, you're kind of developing it even further. And you're talking about the LFV technology on the Miyanos now. I know that's part of one of the launches today, but so why now?
Well, I think, you know, the LFE technology has been available on the Citizen Swiss machines now. We've been selling them for 5 years.
Yes.
It was almost that again in development and testing before it came to market. And I think it's important that people remember that only Citizen machines are mechanically designed and tested to withstand LFE technology.
Right.
It was obvious that that technology was going to find its way across to the Miyano machines.
Yes.
But it required a whole different way of thinking to be able to get that to work on a fixed head lathe.
Oh, really? That much different?
Really, yeah. It's taken 3 years of development to design and manufacture the prototype machines and have them out running and testing and evaluated before they now come to market fully tested.
Wow, okay. This excites me quite a lot actually, because as a managing director of a company, you've been directly involved with the development of the ANX-42SYY. I mean, you're a busy man anyway, so the fact that you're directly involved with that, how does that work?
I think everybody who works in engineering and everybody in our business has got engineering running through their body. It's in their DNA.
Yeah, that's true.
And we get excited.
We do.
You know, when it comes to engineering, and we're excited about manufacturing. And what Citizen does is it listens to its customers. What does its customers want and need? And customers were asking us for larger capacity machines with LFE technology.
Right.
And you know, the reputation and quality of the product and the history of it is there in the Citizen brand. And it was important moving over to the Miyano to take that into account. And it was nice to be involved personally, having visited the R&D facility teams in our Torikazawa factories in Japan, and to work with them on the design concept. And they came up with this machine.
And you must be so proud, the fact that you've been part of that design and it's sitting there, it's ready to go and people want it.
Absolutely. It's not just us, but the whole of the Citizen Group companies around the world are involved actively with Citizen Japan in deciding where the R&D resources are going to be used. So we have a direct influence on that, and it's really exciting to be invited to actually participate in the design of new machines.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, you're down in Bushy, you've got your Solutions Centre. So can you explain a little bit more about that? So we're in Brierley Hill here today, but it's in Bushy, nearer to London. What happens down here?
So the Citizen facility down in Watford was our headquarters before we had this facility here.
Yes.
And, you know, we've been in the UK for 44 years. We've always done what people would determine as turnkeys, but that means different things to different people. We're seeing now, certainly in the last year, a 4-fold increase in the demand for customers to develop processes outside of their capability where they need us to challenge us with their problems. But I guess the main thing that's changed is security of supply.
Right.
People need to be able to manufacture in the UK, they need to do it efficiently, and to do that they need to come to us for our advice and help, so we work together.
Yes, definitely. Just to finish off before we go and start interviewing everyone else as part of the show. So the future, what does it hold for you? I mean, you're bringing out new products, but is there anything exciting that you can tell us?
To sum up the future is opportunity.
Yeah.
People have the chance to do things differently. We can manufacture stuff in the UK. We need to think differently, we need to do it efficiently, and we need to have the right solutions for that, and that's where our Solution Centre comes into play. So we've got a permanent display down there of 8 machines with advanced cutting technologies on them and automation, as well as laser cutting. And up here where we are today in Brierley Hill, we have our Centre of Excellence.
Yeah.
The two places create a great customer experience for showrooms.
You really are putting your feet down, ready for the future, aren't you?
We're here to support UK manufacturing in both the UK and Ireland.
Brilliant. Thank you so much, Edward.
Thank you, Lindsay.
Thank you. Now, one of Edward's best lines that he's ever said to us is the fact that he says, our customers are our best salespeople. So it seems an opportune moment to find out about why their customers like their Miyano so much. So Colin made a trip up to Liverpool to visit a company that is so very successful, a very busy machine shop. So let's go and find out more about Bryken.
As you probably gathered, main focus today is about Miyano machines, and a great place to come, or a must place to come, is Bryken Precision Engineering. Phil, thanks for having us along. How many Miyano machines have you got?
We've got 7.
7, and more on the way?
At the minute, yeah, we've got 2 more coming. one in April and one in September, October.
Okay, and it's a great story about the whole citizen support and the machines you've got. But just a quick potted history of the company. When did you start?
Company was started in 1982 by my father and his partner, Brian and Ken, where the name Brian Ken come from.
Great success story and great example of investment to keep ahead, because how many machines have you got now?
We've got about 53 now.
53, wow, so impressive stuff. Now, this is also a great story of persistence, because who looks after you guys from Citizen?
A guy called Dave Whitworth.
A guy, didn't have to think about that. Now, how long did it take to sell the first machine to you guys?
Well, he sold the first machine back in the 80s, and then he had to wait another 20 years for the next one. So God love him, he came in here every year without fail, and he got his rewards in the end.
But the persistence did pay off. Now, one of the reasons you bought your first Miyano was this component you've got in your hand. If you could talk me through, well, the machining process on this, please.
Yeah, well, we brought it for this component because it's quite complex, even though it looks quite a simple part.
Yeah.
There's a lot of deburning and there's etching on the part as well. So we went to Citizen, Miyano, and they said, yeah, we can do it. So there's a process internally where we deburr the inside all in the machine.
Prepared earlier for us, that's brilliant.
So, yeah, and you see the surface finishes, it's got to be consistent.
Yep.
So, and it's high volume as well.
Because you got, I mean, people look at fixed head side head machines and say, yeah, you can do what, 100 off, 200 off, but that's not what you're about. You're about big batch runs.
Yeah, we're really about high volume production we are. It's what we're built for.
So, why the B&E? I mean, you've got 7 B&E 51s.
Yeah.
Why?
Well, we like the B&Es because they've got a lot of versatility in there. You can cut 3 places at once. Right. We find the Mitsubishi control at the back end very, very powerful. You can do the run through when you're setting up with the hand wheel. It's just it's a good machine.
Right. So in the actual working envelope, you got the B&E 51 twin spindle, twin turret.
Yeah.
Okay. And it enables you to do really complex parts.
Yeah, really complex, high precision, high volume, and high speed basically.
Yeah. And that's one of the things that keeps you competitive, because it's not just about price with you guys.
No, it's not. It's all about quality, and it's all about how quick we can produce them and repeat that quality as well.
Right, and lead times is one of the key points?
Yeah, lead times. We're anything from 2 weeks to 4 weeks on our lead time at the minute, and that's always the same. Right. We try and win a lot of work on lead time. Sometimes we've won work one day, and by the next day we're delivering the same day. Right,
and these machines enable you to do that?
Yeah, they are, yeah.
Okay, so you alluded to, in the actual working envelope, twin spindle, twin turret.
Yeah.
How does that help you guys though?
The twin spindle, twin turret means we can cut 3 places at once. So we have one turret working on the back end, one turret working on the front end, and then if we really need to push it, if there's complex parts, we can have all three parts of machining at the same time.
Right, so essentially getting the cycle times down, making you more competitive.
Yeah.
Okay, and these machines, powerful, rigid?
Yeah, very rigid, yeah. For the size of parts that we do on there, they're perfect. They are exactly what we need.
Right, and you alluded in terms of the Mitsubishi controls though, very easy to use and super powerful.
Yeah, it's very good. It was a little bit harder first for the guys to understand it.
Right.
But we sent them on another week's training, a bit of advanced training, and they come back to totally different people, and they're doing really well now.
All right, so they're able to use the machines fairly well, but then that extra bit of training, they could realise their full potential.
Well, that's it. You're using it to its full potential now. We weren't at first, and then we went through a year of a learning curve, but after that year, the guys are flying, and we bought 6 in the last 3 years.
Right, 6. So Dave's persisted one machine in 20 years and 6 in the last 3.
Yeah.
But that also ties in with your sales and support. I mean, I'm sure, how has that been?
Yeah, it's been really good. Obviously, with COVID happening last year, it was a bit of a strange year. Yeah. But fortunately, we were able to help out Mercedes AMG. So we had all the Miyanos running on them parts. Yeah. So, no, it's been really good.
And I'm assuming Mercedes AMG, they want high precision, short lead times, everything.
Yeah, without fail.
So I'm assuming running 24/7 on these machines.
Yeah, 24 hours, 7 days a week, yeah.
Now I'm going to throw this in here. How do they hold their tolerances?
Yeah, it's good, yeah. Well, we've got someone here, 24 hours, 7 days a week. But, yeah, it's all fine.
All good. And then one thing I noticed as well, normally when you see your fixed head machines, it's normally a bar loader, so 1.5 metre.
Yeah.
But you've gone a full 3 metre bar feeder.
Yeah, the 3 metre bar feeders work for us because it takes the pressure off the guy then loading the material in all the time. So I'll be honest, it's just like a historical thing. We've always done it. We've always bought 3 metres. and we never have any problems buying 3 meters, so got less bar ends, less waste, so it works for us.
There you go, fantastic overview of Briken and your Miyano BNE51. Just quickly though, you've got 2 more machines on the way?
Yes, we have, yeah. We've got landed in April and 1 landed in September. The one in September is the brand new double Y on it.
Oh, so it's got Y-axis on both turrets?
Yeah, so we're excited to get that one. But we couldn't wait, so we had to get one for April as well.
All right, couldn't wait, had to get another BNE51.
Yeah.
Brilliant, great story. Thanks ever so much. That's the guys at Briken Engineering up in Liverpool.
Welcome back. Now, if you're just tuning in, we are performing the Citizen Live event. Of course, when we go live, it's all about interaction, so please get your questions in, and we're live from Brierley Hill. Now, just going back to Briken, I've known this company for a long time, and I mean, the fact that they're buying 2 more machines this year is just incredible. And as Phil just said, the machines, they're holding tolerances all day, every day. They're running them 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and it's all about the lead times, and these machines are enabling them and giving them the capacity to deliver on time. I also loved David Whitworth's role there, because it just shows that persistence certainly pays off. Brilliant. Again, like I said, any questions, get them in, because the team are going to be answering them at the end of the show. Just write them in the comments box below on whichever platform that you're watching us on. Right, moving on. One of the latest machines in the Miyano range is the BNE-65MYY machine. So let's go over to Chloe, who is chatting with James to find out more.
So James, we're stood in front of the BNE-65MYY, brand new machine, Citizen. Tell me all about it.
Yeah, so it's an addition to the BNE range. First we had the BNE-51MSY, and this is an adaptation of that. So like the BNE-MSY, we can still have that functions of doing that superimposed machining, fast and easy to use control panel, those big heavy box slideways which dampen those vibrations so we can take those big cuts.
Definitely. So brand new to the range. What are the differences between this one and then obviously your latest edition?
So the main difference is, as you can see from the name, is 65mm bar capacity. It's now a twin Y-axis machine. Visually, as you can see, we've got the new control, so it's got a large touchscreen control and the window, which is, well, it's massive.
Yeah, definitely, and that's a huge addition to have a huge window, because sometimes you have to look in to the machine to see what's going on. So I just heard two Y-axis on both the turrets. So tell me why you've done that.
Well, we wanted to give customers the option to have complete flexibility over their process. So not only can we do pinch milling, but we can do differential milling or drilling. So we can mill or drill 2 different features on opposed sides of the component.
So that's a huge advantage for someone who's looking to buy this Citizen machine. So you've got more adaptations of your machine. So I see new controls. How is that user friendly to your customers?
Well, it's now a touchscreen control, and obviously the screen's a lot larger. It's got an advanced human machine interface, so for operator ease of use. There's a lot of help inside the control, so it might seem unnerving to some, but like our complete Citizen and Miyano range can be programmed with ease using our CNC Wizard.
Fantastic. So also you mentioned 65 bar capacity. Why have you done that for your customers?
Well, I mean, we listen to what our customers say and we feed that back to Japan. Customers wanted increased bar capacity in our faster machine range. You know, it's very tough out there at the moment. It's very competitive. Customers have a lot of pressure to reduce cost and lead times, and that's when the BNE's versatility comes into play. Having that X-axis on the subspindle means we can do that superimposed machining. So the machine actually mimics a free turret machine.
That's fantastic. And obviously you said listening to your customers, they'll be amazed that you've managed to do this. So in relation to the Miyano standards, how does this keep up?
I think we've even surpassed our own standards, to be honest with you. I mean, this machine in particular has over 100 hours of hand scraping just on the slideways.
Okay, so that's, I know from being an engineer, that is huge to keep up with, and having that handcraft in the machine is a huge advantage. So James, I'm sure it doesn't stop there, so talk to us about some new releases and the differences it has.
Yeah, so the BNE is a very popular range, and it will have a sister machine called the BNE 65MSB. The difference is being it will have a full B-axis functionality to it, which has full 360 degrees of rotation, which will be released soon.
So there you have it, from James, from Citizen, the BNE-65MYY coming to you at Citizen Live.
What a machine. 100 hours of hand scraping. Wow. I mean, they talk about the power, the speed, the y-axis, and the huge touchscreen system, the door. It just makes it so easy for engineers to get into the machine. And just looking around the facility, you can see the developments that are happening and how all of these developments are really evolving with the team here at Citizen. Now, Edward mentioned the Solutions Centre, so it seems very apt to find out more about it. So Colin recently visited the site at Bushy, where he had a chat with Isaac, who basically runs the show there, and Warren from MCS. Now, this is one of their latest customers. You'll watch the video, but one small caveat, you might spot that the machine is still in its wrapper. Well, the project isn't quite finished yet.
Today's event is at Brierley Hill at the Turning Centre of Excellence, but they've still got the headquarters down in Bushy, which has been rebranded. Isaac, you're in charge. It's called the Solution Centre now. Tell me all about it.
That's right. It's our Solution Centre. So that's a sort of new concept for us at Citizen Machinery, to set up a dedicated space and a dedicated team of engineers to focus on turnkey solutions and project work, including things like automation projects.
Okay, so yeah, we're going to talk about this fantastic project in a minute. So essentially, before, people might phone up and say, an application engineer say, we need to make this part, and you would help them out.
Yeah, sure. So this is, that side of the business still there. We're still doing normal after-sale stuff, delivering machine, come and help you program it. But for those customers who want the pain completely taken away, we'll do the entire thing off-site in the most efficient way possible with all the kit around us, and crucially not in someone's factory under their feet.
Yeah, so essentially they could keep their spindles turning whilst you're coming up with a solution, ultimately to help them win more business.
That's it. That's exactly it. It will do something that's new for them, that's going to give them new capabilities that you really can't develop in a factory on site.
Brilliant. Isaac, I'm going to stop you there because I think what we need to do is actually speak to one of the customers you provided a solution to and find out more about this fantastic array. Thank you very much. Warren, this is one of the first solutions out of the Solution Centre. What have we got here?
What we've got here is an innovative way of manufacturing some castings that we need to manufacture in huge volumes and in a repetitive way.
Okay. Are you already making these parts, or is it a new part and you're trying to win the business?
We are already making the components, but to secure a new contract to ensure continuity of supply, we needed to go out to market to actually research a new innovative way of making these components efficiently.
Right, so making you more cost effective, making sure that contract is. In simple terms then, you've got the robot arm here, the B&A machine behind it, 42, and then at the other end you'll have the parts catchers which aren't on it yet, but if you could just talk me through the process, please.
The process is remarkably simple, but in action, from the start to the end, there's an awful lot going on. Right. So what we've actually invested in is a stacking system for the castings to be put on the stations, the robot to pick up the castings, present those to the machine to machine them, and then out onto the conveyor belt at the end and finish parts.
Okay. But with the robot arm, that's not a normal array, because normally I'd expect the robot arm to be loading in through the door. So why have you gone, what's happened here?
What's happened here is that we presented Citizen with the challenge and the vision that we had of utilising an industrial robot. They had the B&A machine tool, which they've designed to be used with robots, but interestingly, the aperture for this application is actually on the side of the machine.
Right, so why have they done that? Does that mean you can keep machining while the robot's actually loading?
Absolutely. Right. So once the actual part is presented inside the machine, the robot goes back to collect the next one, and there is no loss in cycle time at all.
Oh, right, okay, because normally, you'd expect door open, machine, loading, etc. This, machining all the time.
Correct. The actual door, as we traditionally know it, doesn't open or close.
Right, okay. As we know, Miyano sell a whole range of machines. You can go triple turret, triple Y-axis, twin spindle. But this machine is the B&A 42 DHY. It's only twin spindle, twin turret. Why have you gone this route?
This is what attracted us to Citizen Machinery Solutions. They listened to what we were trying to achieve and focused on the components that we needed to machine, and we didn't need the complexity of multi-axes and turrets. This machine actually delivers everything that we require.
That's it, nice and simple. So providing that perfect solution to keep you efficient.
Correct.
In terms of machining the component, how long are you looking to actually run the machine for?
The actual stacking system and the solution that we've actually bought from Citizen Machinery will enable us to actually run this unmanned for 12 hours.
12 hours. Okay. And that means running continuously, because as we said earlier, the machine's actually loading while still actually machining the component.
Correct. Again, it goes back to the actual solution that Citizen Machinery have offered,
right.
And it's the end-to-end solution, literally the starting point of the stacking system,
yep.
down to where do the finished parts go. And Citizen Machinery have actually provided the solution on every single step of that journey.
A great customer review there, providing the support for the manufacturing of components. But this enables the specific projects to be developed off-site, really minimising disruption to the machine shop and ultimately helping clients to win business and to become more competitive with little to no downtime. And another key point, which is quite interesting, is they sold him the right machine. Now the machine was perfect for the project and that won him the business, but it's also flexible enough for new projects and kind of fits in very nicely with what Edward was saying earlier about putting the roots down and future proofing. Right, it is a live event. We're here live from the Brierley Hill facility at Citizen, so thank you for joining us. Keep those questions coming in. I do really want to put pressure on the team and make them earn their money today, so whichever platform you're watching us on, please put your questions in the comments box below. Next, and this is what we've all been waiting for, very exciting, is the very latest machine in the Miyano range. It's the ANX-42SYY. So I think we need to head over to the expert and Colin to find out more.
Lindsay, thank you for that kind introduction. As she says, we're here for the ANX-42SYY, a groundbreaker, I understand, Chris. It really will be. What I want to do, though, is just reiterate. Normally, I'd come out, do a machine review, find out about components and things like that. It's so new. You've only made a relatively basic component, so I want to know, really, you're like a kid in a sweet shop. What is so good about this fantastic new machine?
It's really hard to find where to start with it. It's 42mm, twin turret, twin Y-axis, LFV, both turrets.
Right.
Also the added X3 axis as well on the sub
covered it
spindle.
all off, that's fantastic. But taking a step back, controls, people think Miyano, they're thinking Mitsubishi controls, but this is a change, it's a first of its type?
Yeah, so this is FANUC 31i control,
right?
And with LFV on it now. It's
okay.
It's a first fixed head with LFV.
So just clarify, because you have got a hybrid machine that's got the LFV, but this is the first fully fixed head FANUC LFV.
Yes, exactly.
Nice and simple. Now we will cover the LFV off later, but the control itself, I mean, that's the HMI, so full touchscreen?
Yeah, full touchscreen, 15-inch display, and what Citizen's done is they've put the common interface on here, so this is very similar to all of our other Miyanos and Citizens, so it will be easy for the user to pick up.
Just a mix between the machines, nice and easy, and great control, nice and easy to use touchscreen.
Looks nice as well.
Absolutely, yep. And I've thought, I mean, the basics, the door just getting in there.
Yeah, it's great access to the machine, great access to get into the turret.
But the working envelope itself, I mean, yeah, it's a big, powerful machine, but it's really, well, take a step back, the footprint itself is quite small.
Yeah, it's only 2.6 by about 1.6, so it's a tiny little machine.
Tiny machine for what it is. But how have you managed to do that? Is that because of the axes?
Yeah, so what it is instead of being able to fit two turrets between the spindles, with the added X3 axis, we can bring the sub-spindle down, so the two turrets are in theory working above each other, which decreases the machine, the working footprint.
I'm going to put you under pressure. What's the stroke then on that? Is the X3, is that correct?
Yeah, so you've got 120 either way, so that's radial 120 from centre line.
So some big movement there. So essentially, you're not going to crash those turrets?
Nope, you'll keep them far apart and have no problems.
Okay, well, I mean, not that you're going to have a crash and things like that, but programming a machine like this, I know on the Miyanos you've got the Alcart Wizard. Is it as simple as that on this one?
Yeah. We'll be developing Alcart for this. So yeah, all the added features from our kart will be available.
No problem at all. Okay, now another key point to this is the Y-axis, because it's got quite a big stroke as well, I understand.
Yeah, for a 42mm machine, 35mm stroke either way, 35mm radial is ample. You do not need it much more than that.
If you need more than that,
just go to a bigger machine.
So what does that mean though in terms, I mean, more complex components?
Yeah, having two, you can do all the simultaneous machining, balance milling, balance drilling. You can have two different operations happening once on one head at the same time.
Right. Well, you say that, so you pinch milling, you pinch turning, you balance simultaneous machining. A big one for these Miyano machines, though I don't think we've mentioned it, superimpose machining. What's that?
So 3 tools in cut on this machine.
Right.
It's for the footprint, 3 tools in cut, 42mm it's unbelievable.
Right, I'm thinking again that's going to throw its own complexities, if I could say that, in terms of actually programming it though.
No, again the control, Citizen's done a great job with the interface to make it nice, user friendly. Right. Now with the spindles, the turrets working together, you could cut either spindle, either turret? Yeah, so you can have both turrets working on, one spindle at a time, or you can have 3 tools cutting at the same time. It's endless, really.
Okay, in terms of tools then, so 12 station on each turret?
Yep, 12 station turrets, but you can have up to 4 tools per station. I'll let you do the maths.
Now it's put me under pressure. I'm going to do the math. I'm saying potentially 96 tools.
Potentially.
And correct me if I'm wrong now. I'm sure people point that straight out. So 96 tools. I mean, again, small working envelope for the size of parts of it.
Right. They've done a great job of keeping the footprint down.
Really impressive. Now, another thing, we're always talking cycle times and the actual cutting of components and things like that. But another key aspect is actually the spindle time, the acceleration of that. Now, this is something you've looked at on this machine as well.
Yeah, so we've got direct drive spindles now, both main and sub spindle. And the biggest downtime or non-cutting time on components is normally waiting for the spindles to accelerate and decelerate.
Yep.
But being direct drive, they really accelerate and decelerate very quickly.
So, basic analogy, I'm getting 0 to 60 a lot faster.
Oh yeah, it's a Ferrari.
All right, okay, as opposed to my 20-year-old Mini out the back.
Exactly.
Brilliant. Okay, one thing we haven't, the final thing I want to cover off, LFV. If people don't know what that is, low frequency vibration, unique to Citizen?
It is unique to Citizen. 2 axes simultaneous, so you can have both heads with simultaneous LFV on it.
So the LFV though, we're going to cover that up later with Tony in terms of what the LFV can actually cover. But on the sliders, the LFV is actually on the spindles. It's slightly different with this, is that correct?
It's exactly the same principle. The tool is oscillating.
Right.
Well, the axis of the direction that the axis is cutting is oscillating, but it doesn't matter if you're on a sliding head or a fixed head. It's the same. It's exactly the same what it's doing.
Okay. Chris, you're making it sound very, very simple. So programming-wise, easy to do?
It's a G-code to turn it on, G-code to turn it off. Same as the Citizens.
So even someone with my calibre could probably work that?
I don't know about that.
That's probably a little bit harsh. Right. Great overview of the machine. So just to get that right, the ANX-42SYY, the latest machine from Citizen. Actually, one thing I want to cover, guideways, because it's a slight change up, because it's fixed head machine, I'm thinking box guideways.
Yeah, so to box slideways, it's what you'd normally see on our Miyano machines, but this is what makes this so fast, is being linear rails, linear guide rails, and also if we didn't have these, we wouldn't be able to have the LFV. So for a 42mm machine, you really don't need anything bigger than...
Was a statistic you threw out prior to going on cameras, what percentage of machine tools actually have linear guideways?
I would say 90% of machine tool builders would have linear rails, more than likely.
Pretty much.
It's just very common to see that. Miyano normally have box slideways, big rigid machine, but it's a 42mm machine. Does it really need to be?
Yeah. It does exactly what you need to do.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's it. Anything else we need to cover off?
I think everyone just needs to come see how small it is and what it can do.
See its capabilities.
Yeah,
and we haven't really put it to test yet, because it's only just arrived the last couple of days.
I arrived last week, so it was the demo that was already set on it, but we want to sprinkle a little bit of dust on it and show it off really.
Absolutely. Chris, great, thank you for talking us through it, and we're going to put you to test. So if you can get your questions in to us, please, on any format you're looking at the moment, watching the show, because we want to make this, put you on a little bit of pressure. Happy to do that. And Lindsay, back to you.
Thanks, Colin. Lots to come in the show, by the way. Welcome back. If you're just tuning in, we're live with the Citizen Live event, and we are here at their Turning Centre of Excellence. We're going to be speaking to Tony, and he's going to cover the range of Miyano machines as well. And we're going to be talking to John Lane, who helps to finance the machine. So lots and lots still to come. So yet another terrific machine. And I know after speaking to the team, the 42mm market is huge. And that was another reason for the development of this new machine. Right, next, Colin caught up with Ulf and Dan, and all the way over from Finland. Now, they run a company with an 8.5 million euro turnover, with Citizen right at the heart of it. Just before we go to that video, I just want to give a mention to Owen Gibbons. Now, he is the European sales manager, and he looks after the Citizen dealers in Europe, in the countries that are Citizen Machinery UK that they're responsible for. The reason I wanted to tell you about him and his position is because it's really showing off the strength of Citizen support across the whole of Europe.
Thank you for that, Lindsay. Dan, all the way from Finland, BS Metals, thank you for joining us. Can you just tell me how many Citizen Syncom and how many Miyano machines you have? Because this is amazing.
We have 20 Miyano machines and 17 Citizen machines.
Wow, 20 Miyano, 17 Syncom machines. Absolutely.
Yes.
And that's why I was going to say about Dan, because Dan, you have the job of making sure these are all running.
Yes, that's correct.
And another fantastic bit of information. You've got 37 machines plus 4 mills as well. How many people have you got running these machines?
We have at this moment we have 18 CNC operators on all these machines.
So not many. And you're running these machines all day, every day, 24/7?
Yes.
Okay. Is it easy to do?
With Miyano and Citizen machines, it's easy to do.
Okay. Why is that?
The machines are very reliable, and for me that's important. When I do the planning, I know that they will not break down. They're very reliable. They can easily keep the tolerances and so on. And from the LFV side, we have a lot of good experience already.
Okay. So really, you have a great relationship, as we said, great relationship with Citizen and Owen, who's the European sales manager, plus your local distributor. So with these machines, though, you're running 24/7, very simple. If something goes wrong, though, a Citizen there to support you?
So we get support from Citizen, both from the Finnish, but also directly from UK. Yep. We get support, and then we have a local maintenance company that within hours they help us. Brilliant. And they have a lot of experience from Miyano and Citizen machines also.
Right, now the main reason we've got you here today, obviously fantastic to know how many machines you've got in the Miyano machines. I'm going to go back to Ulf now, because I'm assuming you're the man who controls the checkbook and makes the payments and makes those decisions.
Yes.
What have you gone and done? What's your next machine?
It's ANX-42, and then we have also on Citizen side some investment. Yes.
Okay, so that's the main reason we're here is because the ANX-42 MSYY, get that correct, so twin Y-axis on both turrets. Why have you bought this machine in particular?
Because now we can also have in mid-range the LFV technology, and the machine is very flexible for subcontractor like us. Yep.
When you say flexible, is that in terms of difficult components, difficult materials?
Difficult components, and also the machine is flexible. It fits to us very good. It's both sides same type of power and the movements in the machine. It's very good for a subcontractor.
Okay, and now you've used the LFV technology on your sliding head machines, but this is the first fixed head machine that has got this LFV technology. How have you found that?
Yes, that we have very good experience of LFV technology, and now we think in mid-range of bar machining, then we can have a very good advantage of the LFV, especially in small inside operations. Then it can help us that we can do unmanned production also with that type of parts around the clock, around the 24 hours.
Yeah. All right. Now this machine, as probably mentioned, we've got the twin turret, twin spindle. Will you be doing your simultaneous machining and also the ability to cut 3 faces at one time, so your superimpose machining?
Yes, with the new control it's easy to do. It's very simple to do with the new also FANUC control, because it controls the axis very well and know the length of the tools, that it's not really a big problem to do the programming.
Okay, and as I understand it, and correct me if I'm wrong, Ulf, with this machine, it's the first FANUC control FANUC control with the LFV as well.
Yes.
Okay, and that's not an issue because you guys are running Mitsubishi and FANUC at the moment.
Yes, and the new FANUC control is also similar to use like Mitsubishi's control.
Fantastic. So there you have it. So BS Metals over in Finland. Gentlemen, thank you very much for joining the Miyano and the Citizen Syncon machines, making it easy for these guys to make complex parts. They've got the process stability, and I think it sounds like Dan's got quite an easy job there running all those machines. Gentlemen, thank you very much for joining us, and we're going to go back to Lindsay now.
Fantastic company there, Ulf and Dan. 20 Miyanos, and they are one of the first customers in Europe to get the new ANX-42SYY. And once again, it's down to that spindle uptime, the superimposed machining, the cutting 3 faces at once, bringing those cycle times right down. I know Owen and the team are quite keen actually to get Colin out to Finland to do a video, so fingers crossed, hopefully we can do that soon. But I don't know if they quite know what they're getting themselves in for spending that much time with Colin. Now, thank you so much for your questions. I think it was I've just spotted one from Rocky Mountain Performance. Keep them coming in, because we're going to be quizzing the team later on in the show. Right, okay. Next, another client testimonial. So we're going to head over to Gio, who's speaking to Mark Burley from Dafton.
Thanks, Lindsay. Mark, you're the first company in the UK to order the new Miyano. We've already heard some of the technological advancements about this new machine tool, but what specifically attracted you to make another investment?
Well, as soon as I seen the capabilities of this machine and what it could offer, I knew it would bring something, it'd add something to what we've already got. I knew we could increase our productivity.
Now, you mentioned capabilities. Tell me about the new capabilities of this new Miyano, please.
Well, twin spindle, twin turret, both turrets have got Y-axis, and what really attracts me is the X-axis on the sub-spindle.
So what that means is, Mark, is that the second spindle is actually moving in the X-axis and the Z-axis to give you even further capabilities.
Yes, so we can machine offline with the sub-spindle on either turret, which will add more capability to what we've already got.
And ultimately, will that reduce your cost per part?
Oh yes, reduce cycle time, because we can have 3 tools in cut.
Right, so 3 tools in cut. I mean, that is a game changer for your company?
Yes. Yeah.
Now, LFV, now this is the first time I believe that you'll be using this new technology. What will this add to your company and your productivity?
LFV is new to us, and I also believe it's new on Miyano machines, so it's new to all of us. We do a lot of the difficult stainless steels with stringy swarf, which is an inherent problem, so hopefully we're looking forward to working with that and improving our processes.
It will improve your process, but will it also give you a stable process for maybe automation as well?
Yes, this machine will be linked up with a 3-metre bar feeder. We do run unmanned at night, and hopefully that will improve the process.
So 3-metre bar feeder or a short bar feeder?
3-metre bar feeder. Yeah.
So will you be running unmanned?
Yes, all night, yeah.
Now, tell me a little bit more about the overall machine purchase, about the footprint and some of your considerations when choosing this model.
Well, there's a lot of capability for the footprint of the machine. Simple as that.
Yeah. And my final question, Mark, to you is, if this purchase is successful, will you buy another one?
It all depends on the price. I'll have to talk to them about that.
Mark, Thank you very much. So there you go. Back to you, Lindsay.
Thanks, Gio. Another example of Citizen saying their customers are their best salespeople. And we look forward to visiting Davturn once their machine is up and running. Right, next up, Colin is going to interrogate Tony. Now, I used to, work alongside Citizen probably about 8 or 9 years ago now, and I love Tony, and I know that he's a cider lover. He's a lovely gentleman. But he's going to discuss the range of Miyano machines, so basically like a catalogue of the machines with you now, and he's going to cover LFV. Now, Colin, be nice, because Tony's lovely and you're not so nice.
I think I've done something to upset Lindsay today, haven't I? Tony, you told me earlier off camera, Citizen Machinery UK's #1 salesman.
Hardly that.
But what I want to do, normally when we talk about a machine, we talk about why people have bought it and the components of manufacturing, things like that. But what I want to do is, because there's such a fantastic range of Miyano machines, just go through them very briefly. Obviously, we don't want full specifications because we will be here all day. So what I want to do, well, just get straight into it, is, before we do that, we want your questions, please. So put them, however you're watching, LinkedIn, Facebook, wherever it is. We want to put these guys under some they're under enough pressure as it is going live, but we want to get some questions to them, please. So first machine, though, the BNA-42, get this right, GTY LFV.
Yeah, so it's it's a 42mm sliding head machine. It doesn't have a guide bush, so you could really call it a hybrid machine. It's got a turret and a platen layout as well, so it's the configuration very similar to the larger Citizen models.
Right, so just to reiterate, platen all gang with a turret, so yeah, like you say, hybrid. But it's also, so you could do, and I think we've mentioned it lots already, your superimposed machining. Which
yeah, definitely. So we've got the X-axis movement on the sub-spindle, which is what facilitates superimposed machining. So it's a way of getting 3 tools in cut on a very small footprint machine.
There you go. And the LFV, because that is a Miyano with LFV, but this machine is the first one with the first fixed head with LFV. Just to
yeah, first fixed head, and also the first Miyano with the FANUC control with LFV.
Okay, he knows his stuff. Put you under a bit more pressure. So the next one, BNE-51SYY.
Yeah, it was introduced a few years ago, became a very popular model straight away, really. You've got a twin turret machine with Y-axis on the top turret, but you've got 51mm bar capacity, so now we're going up in size, bar capacity capability, and again keep going back to superimposed machining. On a machine of that size, it's very unusual to have that capability.
Okay, and that superimposed machining, getting those cycle times down.
Yeah, it's about productivity.
Yeah, absolutely. Right, next one then, BNJ-51SY6.
Yeah, so the BNJ is really the evergreen of the BNJ range.
Don't say evergreen, not in the recent circumstances.
Yeah, well, I suppose it works. So over 20 years, the BNJ's been being produced, and it started as a 42mm machine, just with sub-spindle. And over the years, it's progressed, and advancements have been made with each different model. We're at SY6 now, so 51mm capability and Y-axis on the top turret.
Okay, but relatively simple to run, but a small footprint as well.
Yeah, a reasonable size footprint, and again, we keep going back to superimposed capability. One of the first machines with it.
Okay, I'm getting a bit of a theme here, LFV, superimposed, but it's all simple to use though.
Yeah, very straightforward to use, yeah.
No problem at all. Right, next one then, the BNA-42SYY.
Yeah, the SY5 is the latest in the BNA range, I think I'm right in saying, yeah. And it was designed from the ground up with automation in mind, really. So it was a progression on the BNA range. There were some advances made. We've got a larger door opening. We've got 12-station turret. So we've got a 12-station turret with Y-axis movement. But as I say, it was built really with automation in mind. So it's got mounting pads on the casting where you can mount either robot or anybody's gantry automation. So it's about automation, really.
And automation, we hear that all the time. It's just the way forward. So
it's the way forward.
You've got your sliders, obviously with the bar feed. These machines will have the 3-metre bar feed as an example. And the example we saw earlier, the guys at MCS with their robot loader.
Yeah, exactly. People are looking at robot loading a lot more seriously again now, and this machine is designed even with the door going over the centre line, so you've got access for an overhead gantry coming in. So it's all to facilitate that automation.
Brilliant. Okay. Now the next one, and getting a bit larger. So the ABX-64SYY.
Yeah, so there's two versions of the ABX64, the SYY and the THY3.
Right.
And it's as simple as the SYY has got two turrets with Y-axis movement. The THY has got three turrets with Y-axis movement. So you can get obviously 3 tools in cut with the 3 turret machine, but also with the 2 turret machine, both with Y-axis, it facilitates pinch turning, pinch milling, and even differential milling or whatever.
Brilliant. Okay, and we visited our friend Owen at Andair down on the south coast, one of Paul North's customers, and they've actually gone from the 64. They've sort of upgraded it as such because it will go bigger than that bar diameter. Yeah,
so it's ideal now. It comes as a factory fitted option that we can have an 80mm spindle on the machine. So that's something brand new for Miyano, really. So we've got 80mm bar capacity. So ABX64, SYY or THY with 80mm capability.
Who's loading that bar feeder?
Yeah, no, but that's the technical aspects of the bar feed looks after that. So yeah, you load it ground level and the bar feed takes care of the rest of it. You don't have to be Conan.
Right. Fair enough. Now, the next one, and the final one on the Miyano range, is the one we've actually had a look at earlier with Chloe and James. It's a BNE 65MYY. So tell me a little bit about that one.
Yeah, there's not much more I can add to what James' very professional presentation, I thought. But yeah, we're very excited about it because it's 65mm capability, so it moves on up from the 51. But it's twin turret, twin Y-axis. So again, you've got the benefits we've already talked about having a Y-axis top and bottom. Yeah. And again,
what are you going to tell me?
It's got superimposed facility.
Well, I mean, that's key. It is key to it as well. Yeah. But also, you've got the BYY option that I don't think it's out yet, but we did review it a little while ago. I think there was an exhibition some time ago. I think we went to.
Yeah, I think the last Jimtoff exhibition back in the day when we had exhibitions.
Yeah,
but
what is this exhibition?
Yeah, what's all that about? Meeting people. But yeah, it was shown there, and the top turret will have full B-axis capability, so that's something to look forward to.
360 degrees?
Yeah.
Well, impressive stuff. So super complex machining made easy, really.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It's all about productivity and flexibility.
It really is. Now another thing is your process security. So when I say process security, LFV. Now people who don't know what LFV is, low frequency, if I could say it, low frequency vibration. Tell me about it.
Well, it's, the machines are designed to cope with the LFV, the low frequency vibration, and so it's a software and a machine build point of view. That's what we've got to stress, really. And it's for breaking swarf, chip breaking, but it's done with the software of the control. So we're not talking about dwell turning or something like that. It's actually reciprocating the axis or oscillating the axis, synchronized to the rotation of the spindle. So it's very clever stuff. And you can get the chips breaking 2-3 times a revolution, depending on the material and what you're cutting.
Right. I mean, that sounds pretty complex stuff, because if you turn it at 6,000 RPM, 3 times per revolution, I'm not going to bother doing the maths, but okay. But it is an oscillation.
Yeah, it's an oscillation, but it's just on a single line of G-code programming, and it enables you to work in 2 axes as well, combined, so we can do radio, we can do tapers, we can do whatever we want.
Have you been reading my questions, Tony?
Yeah.
Okay, so essentially, bird's nesting is a thing of the past.
Yeah, it is when you've got LFV, because, it just facilitates unattended operation. And that's, again, where people make money. If they can run these machines unattended, if you're cutting a material that strings up, whether that be plastic or tool steel, it just takes away the efficiency. So
I'm having a chuckle here, because guess what my next question was? What sort of materials? Absolutely. But, okay, I'm thinking if whether it's a spindle on a slider or the turret on this machine oscillating as such, tool life, how's it going to affect your tool life?
Well, tool life actually improves. It's the old thing about it. It's perfect for everything, really. If you think about it, if the tool is oscillating and moving away from the contact with the material a number of times, then that allows coolant to get in. Right. That cools the cutting edge, and so you get away from things like thermal cracking of the inserts, and you actually extend your tool life. Oh,
excellent. So another great
another byproduct, really.
Thank you very much. Yeah, look at the right word there. Okay, so what about a couple more quick things? Now, it has caused, we were chatting with the guys at Project Max, it has caused a problem. The swarf bin?
Yeah, right in the early days we had a customer complain because he ran his machine for like 3 times longer than he normally would. The swarf compacted down because it wasn't stringy swarf. Come to take his swarf bin out, they couldn't lift it up. So it brings with it its own problems.
Right, yeah, so not a bad problem to have, really.
Not a bad one to have.
Okay, two final things then. So in terms of your cycle times and your surface finish, I'm assuming a cycle time's going to come down the same?
Well, cycle times can increase very slightly, although you can compensate for that by cutting quicker or whatever. So in some instances you will get a slightly longer cycle time, not always. But what it is, you get a much better efficiency from the unattended operation. So if you lose 5% of cycle time and you increase your productivity by 100%, it's a no-brainer.
Yeah, absolutely. Surface finish.
Surface finish, yeah. The final good thing about it, well, again, down to the fact that the area you're cutting is getting cooled, the inserts are staying in good shape, then you actually improve surface finish, believe it or not. Yeah.
Brilliant. Tony, a masterclass in the Miyano range, the new machine, the ANX-42SYY, I think people might have got that by now, and LFV, low frequency vibration. Thank you ever so much, really appreciate it, putting you under a bit of pressure. And I just want to reiterate, if you have got any questions, please get them over to us because we want to put these guys under a lot of pressure. Lindsay, back to you.
See, I told you Tony was lovely and giving Colin a run for his money. Thank you, Tony. And as you would expect, a really impressive range of machines that covers every aspect of fixed head turning. And now with what we can say, you know, the game changer with the LFE technology on the Miyano range. Right, next it appears Colin has done quite a bit of travelling, and his next stop was at Progimax up in Shipley, where they have a BNE 51. So let's find out more.
James mentioned earlier about the BNE 51 MSY, but I thought, why don't we find out more about one that's actually in action? So we travelled all the way up north to Progimax. Jeremy, thank you for having us along. This story is not about just buying a machine, it's about an actual project. We can't show it on camera specifically because of NDAs, etc. But can you talk me through the process, what happened and why you made the decision?
Yeah, thank you, Colin. So we were approached by one of the major primes during or just before lockdown, looking at a new suite of work that we were quoting on, and we knew we needed to up our game. Right. So we needed faster technology, faster cycle times. So we approached Citizen and Citizen Miyano to help us put that bid together, looking at the cycle times that could be achieved with the BNE. We bid on the work, unfortunately we won the work. Yep. The big advantages we found with the BNE, firstly on the controller, for being able to program the same as our current Citizen machines.
Okay, with the controller then, you've got the Mitsubishi controller, is that correct? Yes. So you've got a whole suite of, I mean, we're concentrating on Miyano machines at the moment, a whole suite of Citizen.
We've got 8.
Syncom,
yeah.
8, okay. So being able to move from those to this was one of the big decisions.
That was a huge advantage because we've got 7 or 8 of our younger people who were trained on the Citizens and were able to adopt the technology quickly without having to go into the CAM system for writing new posts for the new machinery. So they've taken to it like a duck to water. It's been amazing.
Okay, so essentially quite relatively simple to use.
Yes.
Okay, and also that ties in with the actual programming because you're programming offline with the Alcart Wizard?
Yes, we use the Alcart Pro Wizard to generate all our code and prove out the programs in a background environment.
Right. And again, I'm assuming simple to use.
Yeah, they love it. Yeah, okay. They've really taken to it really well.
Excellent. Now, the BNE 51, it's the MSY, so twin spindle, twin turret with one Y-axis.
One Y-axis on the top turret.
Yep.
Yeah. So we found that we can synchronously cut with all 3 axes, so sub-spindle, main spindle, and top turret at the same time, which has slashed our previous estimate on the cycle times.
Okay.
So we were half what we originally would have bid for the project, and that allowed us to win a large volume of work from this particular prime.
Wow, okay, so again, the old chestnut of cutting 3 faces at one time, the Superimpose Machining. Is that easy to program though? Because I should imagine it's quite complex getting all 3 faces.
You're asking the wrong person on how they would do it, but the results I've seen, I would say yes it is.
Absolutely.
Because we're getting faster and faster at generating new MPI parts, and they're coming off the same day we start it, rather than on day 3 where we were previously.
Right, okay. And with this component, like I said, we can't get too close to it, but what sort of processes are you doing on it? And you also mentioned about synchronisation of the spindles?
There are some really critical tight tolerance, so we've got a 20 micron positional tolerance from the hole on the front turret to the hole on the back turret. So that synchronization of the spindles and synchronization of datum is a really critical feature on the machine. And we've proved that we've halved that tolerance, so we're producing really repeatable product well under the CPK limitations that we were required for running the volume.
Okay, so with all this, you're doing some complex parts. Also, something I prepared earlier, I mean, you're taking some, I mean, it's only aluminium, I say only aluminium, but some big depths of cut there as well.
Yeah, with it being box guide weight machine and the amount of power available, then we haven't got anywhere near the limits of this machine yet, but we will.
Oh well, okay. Well, when you're talking getting near the limits of the machine, I mean, we've got to mention Dave, who's your sales guy, but your regular contact with the guys at Citizen Miyano in terms of support, service, etc.
We found they've been very, very useful with their technical team to push us to say, look, that can be done faster. We can make those parts quicker, and using their estimates against our estimates, then we've been able to collaboratively produce the best results for Progimax and hopefully for Citizen.
And so ultimately winning new business.
Winning new business, investing in new machinery.
Brilliant, that's absolutely fantastic. So Jeremy, Progimax, that's absolutely fantastic. Ultimately, pretty much halving cycle time on this to win new business and ultimately buying some more Citizen Miyano machines. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Jeremy is certainly pleased about that. I mean, halving their cycle time, that is a huge advancement in the investment of a machine. It's crazy. Now, it's great to find out about these machines and the service and support that Citizen will offer. But how on earth do you pay for one of these machines? Right, okay. The man I have got standing to my left used to be my boss. But John Lane is the man in the know when it comes to finance.
Good afternoon, Lindsay. I did indeed. I would never go as far as to say I was your boss.
Well,
you worked with us.
Yeah, okay then. Right, John, I want a Citizen machine. I'm a customer. How can you help me?
Well, the first thing we'll do, Lindsay, is talk to you about what are you going to try and do with the machine. Whether it ends up as HP, leasing, or rental is really secondary. We need to know whether that machine investment is going to make financial sense for your business. Will it earn you any money?
And at what point of the stage do you start talking to the customer?
Well, I and the sales engineers will start talking to the customer about the potential earnings of the machine very, very early on. Because there's no point in going too deep and spending time and money for the customer or for Citizen if it turns out the project is not going to be financially viable. And with just a few simple questions, we can start to get to how much will this project actually earn you an hour? If the job is a penny a second, that's £36 an hour. How much will £36 an hour buy me? How much will £60 an hour buy me? We know we won't have all of the answers early on, but if it turns out that it's just not viable, we're either looking at the wrong machine, the wrong process, or we're just looking at the wrong job.
You're kind of considering the different variables, and I know when I've spoken to people, it's not sometimes the cost of the machine ultimately, it kind of leans down to that cost per part as well. And you're providing a calculator for this, is that right?
We at Citizen have developed a cost per part calculator where we very early on dig into the financial side and the financial impact of the investment. And I'm a great believer in when you say who pays for the machine, it's actually the customer of our customer who pays for the machine. The guy who's buying the components pays for the machine, because if he doesn't, then it's not a viable project. So we really try and look at how quickly will you get your money back, where will your cash flow be, what's the return on investment, because every engineering company has got several drawers on its capital reserves. So we have to make sure the machine tool investment is the right one.
Yes.
Otherwise, they should spend the money somewhere else.
Exactly. Now, we'll cover government schemes and everything that's out there at the moment. But, John, a couple of case studies, and there's one that's kind of close to your heart, isn't there? There's a case study.
There is, as you know, Lindsay.
Yeah.
I used to be part owner of a subcontract engineering company. Got involved many, many moons ago with a friend of mine. And for me, it was an education. It was a learning process, and I was only really involved on the finance side. I am not an engineer, so I never ventured into that part of it. But what we could see very quickly was that there was no point in us looking at an investment unless it was going to be a financial benefit to the company.
Yes.
After a few years, we looked at our first Citizen machine, and it really was a game changer for the company. We got into unattended running.
Yes.
And what we found was that for the least amount of capital investment, we were getting a greater amount of turnover, and more importantly, we were making more money.
And that's a sensible financial decision. But there's also value in the machines, which I think is really important.
Well, when eventually we came to sell the business,
yes,
one of the reasons that we do feel we were able to sell it as a going concern, and the company is still doing very well, was that we'd invested in top quality equipment. The people who bought it had no trouble valuing the equipment. They could see the staff were trained, and although we didn't have long-running project contracts, we had long-running customers.
Yes.
And they knew that we could supply them quality parts off quality machines. Hence, we were able to sell the business.
Yeah,
and
successfully.
It was excellent, yes.
Another case study is quite interesting. This is kind of like a family-orientated case study. Why is that?
Well, the cost, you talked about the cost per part calculator, but at one of the machine tool exhibitions, we had the MD of a company come onto the stand and his son.
Yes.
And they brought some drawings, and they wanted to know if we could find a solution for manufacturing a particular part. Well, very quickly we were able to identify the machine, but then what we wanted to know was, would this make financial sense? Because the MD was saying, this is not an inexpensive investment. So we got him to give us the numbers, roughly what he was going to sell the component for. We plugged that into the cost per part, and we showed him at the bottom of the page he was going to make money.
That's what you want.
He was still quite worried, and I sensed there was somebody else going to make a decision. But his son actually said to us, can I take this with me because I want to show it to our finance director? Who was the finance director?
I know.
Mum was the finance director.
Yes.
So they took the cost per part, they showed it to their mother, said, Mum, if we invest this amount of money, this is the return we will make.
Absolutely.
Mum said, that makes sense.
Yes.
I've got no problem there. They're now buying their third machine, and we're evaluating that on cost per part as well. And it will be the biggest investment they will ever have made.
Yeah, absolutely. Right, okay, government schemes, because a lot of the time we're talking about this a lot, MTD have promoted it a lot. What's out there at the moment then? If someone's going, right, okay, like the look of these machines, can I get some help?
Well, as you know, we've just come through an incredibly difficult time. And we had the CBILS, but that is all gone now, the direct government support with financial support. But we've now got the super deduction.
Yes.
And to me, it's probably one of the first incentives where the government are actually saying, if you are a successful company, we will support you.
Go
A
on.
lot of government aid in the past has been for companies who are failing.
All right,
But
okay.
no, this is for people who are successful, who've got profit, and who want to hedge that profit and invest in new machinery.
Yes.
They are saying to them, you invest and we will support you. And I believe that's the right way to go.
Can you tell us some of the calculations? It's quite interesting.
It's quite simple almost. With the new super deduction, before super deduction, you would save on a £100,000 machine £19,000. With super deduction, you'll save £25,000. 25% of the machine. It's a big lump of money.
Yes, of course it is.
And it will impact on people's investment decisions. I actually don't think the government are doing anybody any favours though, Lindsay,
Okay, go on then.
because they'll get that money back.
Yes, well, they know, they're clever.
On
they
a
know what they're
machine,
doing.
just as an example, a £100,000 machine, I think a company would expect to turn over about £10,000 a month on that.
Right.
So let's keep the math simple, have 10 months in the year, that's £100,000. But keep the machine for 10 years. That's £1 million of activity that machine will create.
That's a lot.
One machine tool.
One machine.
One machine. But more importantly, of that £1 million, that engineering company will spend 90% of that, at
course they
least,
will.
£0.9 million worth. The 900,000 will be spent by somebody else.
Yes.
And if you carry on and you keep going down, you actually get to over £6 million worth of activity
Yes.
created in the economy
Yes.
from one investment.
Machine.
And that's cost the government £6,000 in tax.
Yeah.
If they do create £6 million and there's 10% profit on that at 25% corporation tax, that's 150 grand the government get back for their and that's not to say, think of all the tax that's paid on the wages through that.
So it's helping the government, it's helping people, and you know what, sometimes finance is quite scary, but you know, you can simplify it like that and you can explain that when you're speaking to customers.
Absolutely. If a customer wants to know what's the impact on my business, we can very quickly work it out.
Yeah.
We can work out where your year end is, we can look at your VAT, we can talk about various things, because I suppose at the end of the day, Lindsay, we've been at it for a long time now.
Well, yeah, I don't know. John, thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Right, okay, so there you have it, looking at the whole picture and making sure the purchase is correct for the client. And it's just another example of showing how Citizen can really add value to you know, the investment in the machine and with the service and support they provide. Now we are coming towards the end of the show, so we really hope you've enjoyed it, but now is the time, which is quite exciting, is because we're going to collate your questions and send them over to Chris Downham, who is the man in the know.
Lindsay, thank you for that. Chris, I'm going to put you under some pressure, but before we do that, a few things. First of all, some thank yous, some big shout outs here. So the PDI team who were working over there, they didn't want to go on camera. They've all scarpered to lunch, but they've done a great job. And Byron, he has been an absolute legend. He's been helping us move things, and in fact, the rest of the Citizen team have as well, but those two, absolutely brilliant. And after that explanation of the machine, I'm going to buy one of these, and I think John's already sorted out my finance, so I'll maybe stretch it a bit if I become an engineer. I think that's probably stretching it a bit too far. But next, actually, my first question is actually to Lindsay. Beginning of the show, a juxtaposition. No idea what it is. Well, I do, but I think we need to question her on that. But over to you, Chris. Right, first question that's come in. What size of three-jaw chuck, I have to read this, so it's going to be slow, I'm afraid. I do apologise for that. What size of three-jaw chuck is possible for main and sub-spindle on the ANX-42?
It's a nice, short, simple answer. 5-jaw chuck, both main and sub.
Nice and simple. There you go, done. Okay, next one is from Rocky Mountain Performance. How many different options are available for turrets on the ANX?
It's a bit of a strange question, but if I don't really understand what he means or she, they mean tool holders. You've got your standard turning, you know, end working, cross-driven, face-driven, angular tools. It's just those existing B&A tooling. So,
okay, and we're not quite sure of what they mean by that, but they may have. I mean, how many tools they hold per turret?
Well, you can get up to 4 tools per station. So
we did the maths earlier. I did the maths, and hopefully it was right. 96. Right, next question, and I think we covered a few of these off, but just to reiterate, footprint.
2.6 by 1.6.
All right, so a tiny footprint for us.
It's very small.
Compared to the envelope as well. Huge envelope for this size of machine. Right, next one then. And we sort of covered this off as well with the material, well, with toning LFE. Any type of material?
Put what you want in there, you know, just utilise the LFE and the power of the machine. That's the benefits of a fixed head with LFE.
Okay, so on plastics, it's not going to melt on?
No problem.
Okay, if I said to you mnemonics?
I would probably run, but yeah, you got no problem. You've got the power to like I say, to remove the material the conventional fixed head way, but then to do your finishing, the ones that are going to cause the problem with the swarf, you've got the LFE to help control it now.
Brilliant, okay, so that's that solution. Right, well, length, I mean, on my travels, bar loaders, bar feeders, generally bar loaders 1 metre, 1.5. You don't see, well, we saw at Bryken and at Progimax longer bar feeders, which are different. Any problem, any size on these for the bar feeders?
You know, if you want a 3 metre on there, you want a 3.7, or you just want to put a short loader on there, it'll make it fit.
Okay, a 3.7, who's going to pick up a 3.7 metre bar? They're going to have some,
Well, not that size.
Okay, and we've done the tools. Just to reiterate on the programming as well, the Alcart Wizard isn't available yet, but
no, you know, now we've got the machine, we can start working on developing it.
But FANUC controls, people are used to that anyway.
It's all, you know, G1, G2 in there. It's second nature.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's FANUC controls. People are used
everybody
to
knows FANUC.
Okay. And finally, and one thing we did allude to in terms of air cutting, you're wasting time. Spindle acceleration is phenomenal.
Yeah, if you watch these accelerate from 0 to 6,000, I wouldn't say it's instant, but it's a lot quicker than a normal belt-driven machine. All of our sliding heads are direct drive, and they rev up unbelievably quick.
Yeah. Well, as we alluded to earlier, I'm actually going to borrow your Ferrari, I think. Yeah. You can take the Mini nice and slow home.
I don't know if I want to do that just
Brilliant.
yet.
Chris, put you under not too much pressure, I hope, there. Thank you very much for talking to us about the machine, answering the questions. I think we're going to go back to Lindsay, throw it back to Lindsay. Shall I put her under pressure and ask what a juxtaposition is? Maybe not. Back to you, Lindsay.
Thanks, team. Right, okay, that's it, the end of the show. We really hope you've enjoyed the event. Oh, we've had a question come in. So, what's the question? Oh, we're just going to pull it on screen now. So, what is the big difference between BNE and ANX? So, Chris is just getting back into situ. So, Chris, just going to go back over there one sec.
There you go, it's a live show, and we just told Chris there's no more questions, but someone snuck one in at the end, and this is going to put you under some pressure. What is the difference between between BNE to an ANX?
Size, of course, 51 to a 42mm machine. Yep. There's actually quite a few differences. Stumbling now.
That's all right, mate.
Mitsubishi control, that's one. So this is FANUC, even though it's got the Citizen interface, but in the background is FANUC, where the BNE is Mitsubishi.
Okay.
Linear rails on this, where it's box on the BNE.
Okay.
Two different machines.
We covered off in terms of box guideway. There's no, I mean, the majority of machines these days are running box guideways anyway. The controls is FANUC, but it's a HMI, so it's a full touch screen anyway.
Yeah.
It's nice. And people are going to be, they might have thought, well, it's a Mitsubishi, I don't really want that, but now.
Yeah, it's Citizen's just made it easy to go from, one of our sliders to a Mitsubishi Miyano to a FANUC Miyano now. The interface is just going to be the same.
Yep. And with being, you haven't got the LFE on a beat.
No.
All these.
Exactly. So yeah, we haven't got. But that's a big, solid, rigid machine. You just use the power in that one.
Okay. So 3 very final things I'm going to quickly then say. If you haven't got a theme of it today, A, it's Miyano. B, Superimpose Machining. LFE. And a lot of people have said it's an absolute game changer. Lindsay, back to you.
Is it back to me? No, I'm joking. No, that is all the questions for today. But if you are watching after the event, because we have a lot of views on the shows post the event, still put your questions in the comments box below, because we'll send them directly through the team and we will get back to you. Do not forget, you can come and visit the showrooms both in Bushey and here at Brierley Hill, but it's really important that you've got to book first, so either by telephoning or emailing the Citizen team. Thanks again for watching the show. From all of us in front of the screens and behind, everybody who gets involved with an event like this, and it is, you don't see quite all and the amount of people that do get involved, but it's been a real pleasure to be here at Citizen's Turning Centre of Excellence, and hopefully we're going to see you again very soon.